My PC is a little slow.
Okay, I saw it.
Yeah, we are live now.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to Bamboo Street, one of many Trump's video. We've been out for like almost a month now, CJ.
A month? A week, bro. But we've been in the copyright strike algorithm for a while.
Okay.
Yeah, we haven't really posted anything in like 2 weeks, if I
Yeah,
remember correctly.
yeah.
But it's
But
like yesterday I just post something. Oh damn, it's a month for real.
it's almost been it's
The
almost
last video we posted was March 19th.
yeah,
Before the one I posted yesterday.
yeah.
So
Today is March April 11th, so almost 7 days, no, 8 days shy of a month.
yeah, that
Yeah.
month went quick too though.
It really did went quick. Anyway, we have a lot of news going on around the world.
Hmm.
Trump is on a war path,
Yeah, they're going
and
hard at it.
they, they are
Trump
going
and
hard. And I have a few videos I want to play you. And the first one is I don't know whether you saw the Republican National Convention that happened 2 days ago
mm,
after Trump announced the 125% tariff on China. He
hmm
went on a celebratory convention. I just want you to take a listen to this.
Our country. And don't let some of these politicians go around saying, because I'm telling you, these countries are calling us up, kissing my ass. They are. They are dying to make a deal. Please, please, sir, make a deal. I'll do anything. I'll do anything, sir. And then I'll see some rebel Republican, some guy that wants to grandstand, say, I think that Congress should take over negotiations. Let me tell you, you don't negotiate like I negotiate.
What
Yeah,
the
I saw a clip of that, but I didn't see like the whole thing. I didn't see the part where he talked about they're calling and kissing his ass. But now that I'm hearing it, it brings us back to what we said months ago. If Trump get elected, everybody gonna be like, "So yes, sir. So yes, sir." And you see, it started, bro. It started for real. And the only person who is not willing to say "So yes, sir" is basically China. I think Mexico is there too.
Yeah.
What about Canada? What did Canada do?
They've renegotiated their own mis. So Canada is in the free now. Canada has not been added to the
The
list of
list.
the countries because they've already done their deal already.
Hmm.
So Canada is sort of in the clear with Trump's new trade deal right now. So Canada is just having a good old laugh about whatever transpired last month. They went through like a public spot, so Canada is just like chilling right now.
Okay.
So um, the emphasis is on China right now.
Yeah.
So
Basically, the tactic that he used is one of those kind of smart tactics.
yeah,
It's like you think about it and you realize how smart this thing is. It's like, okay, I know the kind of power that I have, but I want to test out that power to see who is actually my friends,
yeah,
or who do I hold this power like strongly over, and who feel like they could actually they're strong enough to withstand my wrath. And by doing that, he figure out all the countries. And then what he's trying to do now, okay, everybody who backed me, I'm gonna help you out. I'm gonna be the
yeah,
nice guy because I'm a nice guy. Like Trump always, I'm a nice guy. I like to make nice deals. And then
yeah,
everybody who did not, he gonna try to bring down the world on them. And like in that situation, the only how China could win is if like all the other countries were to stand with them. But because they're standing alone basically right now, they kind of doomed.
Yeah, because China was banking on, you see, China really played their hand in terms of they understood Trump really wanted to negotiate. They started with
Mhm.
Mexico, Panama, Colombia, and Canada. So at the end of the day, Trump actually went back to negotiate.
Mhm.
But China's nationalism took hold, not
Mhm.
common sense, but nationalism, right? Because it's like, we are not going to be the one to back down to these guys. So they were like, hell no, we are not backing down. So they up the ante. They went from 75, they went to 85. Now they are 125
Well,
because
once you start pulling that trigger, you can't step back
you
anymore.
can step back again.
It's
But
like right now
what,
they have to fight it to the end.
yeah, but what they forgot to understand is the US can continue to do that. There's all, there's only so much you can dump on Africa. Because what people are not paying attention to is whatever is supposed to go to the US is being dumped on other countries
Mhm.
because the product has already been manufactured and the
Yeah.
factories need to empty the warehouses. So Africa is going to take a bunch of them. Asian countries are going to take a bunch of them. And these countries in Asia, especially Cambodia and Vietnam, they already have their own factories.
Mhm.
So now they were like, oh, China really played these countries because China have free trade agreement with these countries. And China ended up dumping their product on these countries because China is not using humans in the factory no more. All the factories are automated now. And Cambodia is now complaining like, oh, we thought we have free trade so that you send yours and I send mine. But then by the time we finish our production, yours is already at the market.
Mhm.
The thing we are supposed to sell to you, you are now producing.
Mhm.
So what type of trade deal is that?
Because they didn't like work out the details
They
in
didn't
the
work out the
trade deal.
details because in the past, China was shipping everything to the US. So what
Mhm.
Vietnam was producing, China, it was, even though China was producing those items, it was not going to the Vietnamese or the Malaysians or the Cambodian market. It was going straight to North America.
Mhm.
So now that Trump is like, hell no, you can't sell this here. Now they have to find new marketplace. So now they're just dumping it on these other countries.
Mhm.
And these countries can only take it for so long until they're like, hell no, we can't do this no more, right?
Yeah.
So
So what do you think the end result is going to be?
I think China is going to come to, yeah, I think Trump is overdoing it now, but China is going to come to their senses and realize you are the supplier. The person with the money can always find a supplier.
Mhm.
So a lot of people think supply drives demand. No, 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 no. Demand drives supply.
Mhm.
So US can always say,
The person with the money determines everything.
yeah, the person with the money determines everything. Like, do we need it? Do we? Because what China is producing now, a lot of other countries can produce. If are based on a much higher pricing.
Except for the stuff like the raw materials, like the rare earth. That
Oh,
side, the US have like a weakness, and that's what China was trying to do in their countermeasures. Like they were saying something like they need to get a certificate to license to buy like rare earth in China. So that's why I feel
yeah,
like in the war, the Ukraine war,
yeah,
Trump was making this point like a must for Ukraine that we need X amount of rare earth from you guys, like a
yeah,
diverse supply, just in case we start to squeeze China's balls, the country doesn't get holed up in the whole chaos of it all.
yeah. And even with that rare earth issue, there's nothing rare about rare earth. Diamond are rare. Gold is rare. The rare earth materials are not rare at all. they are commonly found everywhere. Just that the cost to produce those items is much more higher.
And it's dirty and dangerous.
Yeah. So yeah. So you can
The
find a lot of
US.
these germanium and all these other products all around the world. It's just like the cost to produce these products are just too expensive to produce. So they say rare. They are not rare. Diamonds are rare. Gold is rare. You know, these are just byproducts of
Mhm,
maybe from a coal mine or a gold mine or a bauxite mine or a diamond mine. Those are just byproducts. And a lot of countries have these products in abundance, just that nobody wants to invest their money in producing these items. You
mhm.
know,
Because
Malaysia have it in abundance.
they don't want the issues it caused to the environment.
Not necessarily that, because before China's industry opened, a lot of countries were producing these items, but China started producing it at a much cheaper rate, right? So everybody's like, let's just close down our mines and just buy it from China. Because no, as I was saying before we started the live, I don't want to pay 7,000 or 9,000 yen for a bag of rice so I can get a Chinese for 50. You get my point?
Yeah, I
you
got
know,
you. I got you.
so it's just China just produces at a much cheaper rate. So everybody's like, let's just close down our factories and just get it from China. It's much better that way.
Oh, but as you
So
just said that, how come there's no Chinese rice in Japan?
because Japan put 150% tax on it, right?
So Japan was from the beginning they were putting down these tariffs
Yeah,
just
Japan
to
has
make
always been strict
sure
on. Yeah,
that they don't flood the market
yeah,
with these things. Like from day one, they knew
from
that.
day one.
Now Trump is doing the same thing.
There's no way. That's what Japan has been smart from the beginning. You don't see, no. I'm here to see like a foreign product just flood the market. You don't see
Mhm.
tomatoes. You don't get spaghetti. They make their own spaghetti. What else? Everything is just like they don't play
So
by
that
those rules.
means the only items that could come into Japan is high quality items that can, when people test it, oh, it's better than what's on the market, so they're willing to pay the
Yeah, if
premium.
the local industry cannot produce it,
Hmm.
then they would import. But then their certification has to be of the highest quality.
Hmm.
So
That's cool though.
they don't play with those things. They don't play with those things at all.
So
That
so
one
it
is
seems like that's where the relationship between the US and China is heading
yeah,
in the end. In
yeah,
the end, it's gonna be like that.
yeah. Because like
But this could be good
drive,
too for Chinese people,
it could be
because
good.
like for instance, one of the reasons why the RMB value is so low is because they're trying to sell to everybody. But if
Yeah,
they don't sell stuff quality trying to sell to everybody, that means the value of the renminbi is going to skyrocket.
yeah. But oh, I think your line just went off.
So I'm back.
But
I'm here.
yeah, okay. Yeah, but then the issue is not with the renminbi. The renminbi is artificially controlled. The
Hmm.
central government of China since 2012 has been scientifically controlling the pricing of the yuan, just because they are the production hub of the world. So a higher Chinese yuan is going to be bad for the economy because they want to be able to sell things cheaply to other countries.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it will be like if the trade war go to the point where everything is priced higher,
Yeah.
then it may not be cost effective for them to keep the RMB that low anymore. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but then
They probably need to raise the value of the RMB, which will be good for local Chinese citizens.
yeah,
And
but China has not even obtained the middle income economy yet. The economy is great on paper,
Mm-hmm.
but most people are still living below minimum wage.
For me, I feel like over here there's a big gap in the lifestyle. The
Yeah,
people
there's a
who
very
have
big gap.
money, the people who have money,
Have
and the
money,
people
yeah,
who don't have money really don't have
don't have
money.
money.
But
See,
if you
so
check
so
out the regular middle class over here, they still do better than the regular middle class in the US though.
yeah, yeah,
I think it's one thing to do with the generation of one kid policy that
yeah,
has saved the middle class from going under.
yeah. So here in Japan, right, they have a minimum wage. So
Hmm.
regardless of the industry you find yourself in, you have a livable minimum wage,
Hmm.
right? You should be able to afford like groceries or whatever, a simple small car, something like that. The government is entrenched in the constitution, right?
Hmm.
So I've even though I've been here for a very short while, I've been able to understand why they are a world, first class world,
Hmm.
because certain things just don't fly by, right? So
Like
China
that.
can say, okay, let's say, okay, let's increase this, okay, let's let loose yuan, right? What that means is people from Ghana will not be able to buy anything they produce. There
Hmm.
is the same reason African countries don't buy a lot from the USA,
Hmm.
because comparison wise with currency is not a good match. You get a more back for your currency when you get it from China, right? So China is aware of this thing. The only reason China became so wealthy is because for a very long time they kept their yuan or currency very, very low. We've been in China for a very long time. It was 6, then it went to 6.2,
They went to 7.
it went to 7, and it's been there for a very long. You see the years it took to get to 7.
Yo, in like 10 years it went to 7. Maybe in the future it's gonna go to 8. You know.
And that's been like almost a decade to move one yuan. It's been almost a decade to move one yuan, one Chinese yuan is almost a decade. So the currency has always been manipulated, and we all know that. And they did
Yeah.
that specifically to be able to sell their products to poor African countries or Asian countries. And they do that specifically for that. The Central Bank of China is currently doing that right now. They print it, they are overprinting right now. They are
Mhm.
the machines are working 24/7 right now
Mhm.
just to prop up the economy. And we all in China, we don't understand what's going on. And what people think only the US export their inflation. No, China is exporting their inflation right now.
Mhm.
So at
So
the end of the
so it's
day,
not sustainable.
now it's not sustainable. China's economy, I was not able to talk about this thing because I was in China. China's economy is actually doing very, very poor. On paper, because the figures are manipulated on paper, it looks good.
Mhm.
If if the central government said, okay, let the market determine what is happening, everything is gonna go to zero almost, not shit, but to zero almost.
Okay.
So once Trump, uh, was it 2 days ago when Trump was like, okay, up the ante to 125%, all of a sudden the central government is like, okay, they printed a bunch of monetary uh, uh, imbalances, ship those money into the
Into the stock
stock
market.
exchange, yeah, to just keep everything afloat. Because one thing every communist government is afraid of is not war, it's just somebody saying, I'm tired of this shit, and
That
protesting on
cause
the
a
street.
revolution.
Yeah, that's what every communist government is afraid of. It's not war or hunger, they are just afraid of people losing their money and say, fuck this shit, we are protesting.
Mhm.
So that's what China is afraid of. They don't care. China doesn't care about the US. They just care about somebody in Beijing saying, I lost all my money in the stock exchange. You know, that's what they're afraid of.
Yeah, well,
You
it's
know?
sort of happening recently. There's been like videos people been uploading online, saying like I saw someone even put a screenshot like they had 500,000 K, and now it's
Okay.
like 100. Now it's like 100,000 K,
So they lost it all.
400,000,
That's crazy.
and a lot of them they had their money invested in shares. So the day when Trump announced, now I told my girlfriend I sold stocks, I sold some stock. How much did you lose?
Yeah. Yeah, that's
She was
crazy.
like, "How much did you lose?" I was like, "I didn't lose any money. I actually made a lot of money."
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Because I
yeah,
didn't have A shares. I had specific shares in certain company that I
yeah.
was sitting on since COVID. Since COVID, I've been sitting on them.
Yeah, that's good for you because a lot of, but then the government,
Shit.
the central government has pumped in a lot of money into the stock exchange and
Hmm.
um corrupted a lot of the books
I
just to
know what you
keep the
mean.
facade going, right?
Yeah.
Just to keep the facade going. So
Like, although I made money, I got scared because I was like, see the way this thing is going, you never know what the future is going to have. So let me take my ducats and run while I can, because I might wake up the next day and then, oh, shit, So it's like cash
yeah,
in my winnings now. Like when you go gambling and, okay, I reach my baseline and leave the rest inside to try to make some extra profit. But right now, I'm even like these days, I don't like holding RMB as much as I used to hold RMB,
yeah,
because moving from before COVID, like in COVID time, it was like 6 point something. Now it's 7 point something. It's like this thing is just changing. It's too fluctual for me.
yeah. Because you see, the reason why people have trust in the U.S. currency is because unlike other currencies, the US doesn't control whether the currency goes up or goes down. The world economy determines that.
But they're
Because
trying to do it though.
what's that?
The SEC is trying to do it though.
Not necessarily, it's just trying to control who uses it and who doesn't use it. That's what they're trying to do. Who use it and who doesn't get to use it.
So how do they control the inflation rate? Not by printing and not printing.
Yeah, but then they are not saying okay, they are not adjusting the figures. They are
Okay.
they are printing and exporting it. They are printing and exporting those inflation to other countries like African countries and Asian countries or Europe, right? But
Mm.
then the central government or the treasury is not actually controlling whether the value goes up today against the eurozone or up against the yen. They have no control of that.
Mm.
They only control what they can control in the US because it's the reserve currency of the world.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't get to do any of that. So the US currency is not determined by whether there's an earthquake in Arizona or the world, even 9/11, the currency was doing well.
So what you're saying is that only the US is the only country that doesn't have control of their own currency. What about Europe? Or what about the EU and
Yeah,
these
Europe
people?
comes second. The Eurozone comes second. But then they a lot of time as a bloc, as that's why it's the Eurozone. A lot of time they have a lot of controls. They have
Hmm.
Eurozone has a lot of controls, even though it's 27 countries, but it still have a lot of controls. But it's much more freer than other countries.
Okay.
Because with the Eurozone, they actually determine, okay, we we can only do this and we can do this year. They have a lot more control than, let's say, the treasury in the US. But it's much more freer than the yen or the yuan. So a lot of these economies come last on that time scale. But
Okay.
generally they much better. The US is, yeah, much better. That's why you can go into any ghettos in Ghana 12 midnight or 1 a.m. and see you like, I don't have Ghanaian currency, I only have the USD. And the person's like, oh, better. And the person doesn't have the yeah, he doesn't even have a counterfeit detector, man. He said, okay, I'll take it, because,
Mm,
yeah, because the person believes the value is going to maintain, that the US is not
mm,
going to do anything to fuck it up. But the people in the US are not going to experience the same thing because of inflation. But the person in Ghana, that inflation doesn't affect him because he can use that $1 and go to KFC and still get the same food. But
mhm.
somebody in the US, that $1 is not going to get him a KFC.
Okay,
So,
makes sense.
yeah. So China has to, because China is depending on these other countries to take the surplus, especially Africa. And Africa is not thinking straight right now because they think they are getting cheap product, but they have a lot of surplus to China. We import a lot from China, but when was the last time you walk around and you see a lot of African products?
Well, Africans don't like to work, so.
No, we have the product. We have the product, but it's not like the Chinese economy or the government is taking our product. We
Mhm.
have a lot of products, but for some weird reason they don't like chocolate, or they don't like cocoa, or they don't like cassava, or they don't like yam, or they don't like textiles, or they don't like this, you know. But then the good thing about the EU is, oh, we buy your this, so maybe you also get our cars. Maybe
Okay.
your economy don't have a strong auto
It's a
industry.
one for one.
Yeah, sort of a one. Okay, we'll give you the BMWs so that we can take your cassava. You
Mhm.
know,
So
but
you
China is
swap
not.
items.
Yeah, they are swapping items.
That's why,
China
like,
is
I
not.
think in the ending, when Trump was saying they probably do a one for one with the Europe side
Yeah,
and just throw the whole thing to zero or something like that.
yeah, something like that. So, uh, China is not looking at it that way. China is looking at it like, oh, you have cassava. I think we can find a way to make much better cassava and sell it back to you. And I'm like, yo, I'm buying your cheap clothes. Like, at least let the cassava come in. They were like, no, we can produce cassava too. But the people are thinking, oh, China's cassava is much more cheaper than we growing our own cassava. So why don't we just take China's cassava? You see, that's the trade surplus that a lot of countries are experiencing now. But it's
Yeah,
still
but
very
that
cheap.
was not how trading was in the beginning. Trading was before, where countries used to exchange for what they don't have or what they're
Mhm.
low on supply of.
Yeah,
That's how they used to trade before. But now, with the innovation of ships, everyone is just trying to send everything to someone else's place to sell
yeah. That's how.
and
And
beat the
who do we
and
have to
beat the
thank for
market
that?
price.
And who do we have to thank for that? See, I can be critical of the US, but then the US allowed a lot of things to go on in a sense that after World War II, ships were not, before World War II, ships were not just going from China to Africa or to the Eurozone or to North America. The US Navy or Army started patrolling the whole seas make it very easy for all countries to trade among themselves, fight off the how do you call them, the pirates
Pirate.
of the seas. So the US opened the whole ceiling for every country to trade. So we have to
Mm-hmm.
thank them. At least if we hate them, we have to thank them for the world free trade, at least, right? So after they opened it up, they were thinking, okay, every country is going to play by the rules. And some countries like, fuck the rules. I'll make my own rules now. So that's the problem. So not to be too critical of China, but China has to check the production.
Well, they're overproducing more than what they can
Yeah.
digest. Like if you just look at the EV market, they're dumping a lot of cars. To
Mm-hmm.
me, they're producing too much. That's all issues. They're wasting, like
Yeah.
because they're getting like
The subsidies.
the subsidies from the government. So no one really cares whether that car sells at the end of the day. As long as I can make X amount of EVs, the government is gonna pay me this. So I
Yeah.
feel even some of that is even pushing the initiative to make EVs of a low standard, because an EV is
Yeah.
an EV as long as you don't like examine it properly. So if you're making it to dump it, you don't have to be very crucial in the design of it. You just have to make it
Yeah.
look, make it
Good.
appear as a real one on paper, and that one is a
Yeah.
dumper. So no one cares.
Yeah.
I think
And
that's one of
now,
the reasons they have all these problems over here.
yeah, and now because of the overcapacity, they've overproduced and they're dumping it on the European market. And now the EU is like, hold on. We can't do this right now, China. We can't do this right now. Even though Tesla sells in the EU, they tell the EU how much cars they're gonna sell for the whole year before they even produce the cars.
Hmm. Okay, that makes sense.
That makes sense. But because okay, people will argue, but that's because it's only one Tesla.
Hmm.
Maybe there's 15 other Chinese EV companies, and they were like, okay, we can only sell 200, 200, 200. Now you have 50 companies selling 200, 200 cars. If it's only two
Oh,
companies, you get my point.
I get what you mean. I get what you mean. Then but they have like people in charge of import exports, right?
Yeah.
So based on the volume you probably sell in the previous year, then you get allocated a certain amount, like previous history, 200. So like last year the market wanted 100 of yours. Okay, so this year you get to sell 100, and Tom gets to sell 50.
Mm-hmm.
If like during that year you didn't sell the whole 100, then next year, okay, you get to sell 70. Someone else gets to sell the 100. Do it like this.
Yeah, but the Chinese have always been very
I know they're going to find a way to
smart.
they're going to find a
See
way to
how?
manipulate that too. But
Yeah,
it's like, what will happen? The person who came into the market first and has the most money is going to
yeah,
probably buy out the whole demand.
yeah. And even the citizens of the EU, they are also looking for cheap EVs. It's not,
Hmm.
if the demand is not there, the supply is not going to be there. So the people are weak because people are willing to pay as low as they can for their EVs. They don't care about whether it's faulty or it's going to kill them. Maybe combust on the roadside and just kill. They don't care. They just want to spend the littlest amount for the car they desire, right?
Because
So
cost of living is kind of high over in these countries.
yeah,
And
true.
then like the next issue is that in those countries you must have a car to commute properly. It's
Yeah.
not like in China, like, okay, subways are cheap and
Uh-huh.
buses are cheap. Everything is in abundance, so you can just move really quickly at a low
Yeah.
cost. So you need your car.
You need your car. And China has found a way that the EU is trying to restructure their deal and say we don't want this, and they were like, okay, we'll just use Serbia then. Just like when the first trade war started, okay, US, you want trade war, we'll just use Mexico then. You come up when, so they started building a bunch of factories in Serbia or a bunch of factories in Mexico. It's like
Yeah.
there's no, it's like before you even think
Trump
of
was
a
prepared for
solution
this
to a
this time,
problem,
yo.
they come up with
This time, I think Trump was prepared. That's one of the reasons why he slapped tariffs on everybody.
yeah,
So where do you run to now?
where to run
only
to
the
now.
only the people who come to the table will get a deal, and most
Yeah,
likely, his part of his deal is to blacklist the people who didn't come to the table.
yeah,
That's what
yeah,
I think this deal is going to be like. So, yeah, we're going to do XYZ trade, but on top of that, you need to make this promise that you're not going to do backhand deals with China or something like that.
yeah,
That's what they're going to stipulate these deals now.
yeah. Because now Indonesia is complaining because as the EV war started, BYD moved a lot of the factories to Indonesia. And they were like, okay,
Hmm.
we are not going to sell in the Indonesian market. This is just for export only.
Hmm.
So once the trade hit, they were like, the cars that were supposed to be for export is now being sold locally. And the people were like, oh, hold on, hold on, hold on. But you can't say hold on to China. Come on now. It's
Hmm.
like what are you, like, you can't say hold on now because you've already signed a deal a long time ago and they employ 50,000 people. Do you want 50,000 people to be out of jobs now? So these are the dilemmas different countries are battling right now,
Hmm.
you know.
But they'll figure it
So
out.
they'll figure it out, but they have to figure it out fast before it's too late because once the genie is out of the bottle, you know.
Yeah, I think before a month is up, the whole trade war is gonna stop because 125%.
Yeah.
Shit. That's like
Yeah.
buying two cars, yo. Two cars and a quarter.
Yeah. Yeah, that's. I think they have to, but I think a lot of egos are at play right now.
Hmm.
And what surprised me was when Trump was like, "I'm putting a pause of 90 days on all countries." I was
Except.
thinking, except China. That's what I realized. So I went back and I checked the was it Bloomberg, one of these trading platforms,
Hmm.
and what sustains the U.S. Spending is the bond market. Right. So first I'm like, okay, because China holds the most US bonds. So I'm like, man, what if China just started selling off the US bond? What is Trump going to do? Guess what? China didn't sell any of the bonds.
Hmm.
Japan started selling the bonds. And Trump was like, if my ally is selling off their bond, then hell no. Because if Japan started selling off their bond, and Japan is like third on the list
Hmm.
after the eurozone, and the eurozone is the EU is now saying, "Oh, we have our own plan of how we tackle Trump's issue." I'm like, "Oh, they're going to start selling off the bond." That was why Trump was like, "Hell no, I'm putting in 90," because allies and friends are like, "Oh, you want to play that?" The only thing we can do is just, it's not like the country is selling off the bond. They can just offload those bonds to individual companies like the banks, and the banks are just going to offload the bonds. So Trump was
Hmm.
like, hell no, man. Hell no. No, my friends telling me they're going to sell off the bond. China, I can deal with. But my friends, yeah, who needs an enemy when your friend is against you? Right. So Trump was like, that was why Trump was like, fuck his, man. I'm pausing this. So it's gonna be a long week ahead. So the stock is back down. So people are gonna
Hmm.
start buying from the deep again.
Yeah. but my funds ain't ready to buy the dip, man. Damn,
Yeah,
I hate this
yeah,
shit.
yeah.
But I
And
missed it, man. Crypto was looking pretty nice, man. Bitcoin went down all the way down to 74. I was like,
shit,
yo,
it's up again.
yo, this thing is gonna go down to like 60 next. Okay,
Yeah,
let's
man.
go, let's go.
Yeah,
People probably like, we want the market to go up first, but I got into Bitcoin crypto late, so I want the market to
yeah,
go down before it go up.
yeah, yeah.
I
Yo,
was
it's
thinking
up.
it might hit. It's back up to 81 now. It was up to
Yeah,
even maybe like 84. So
yeah. But I think crypto eventually crypto is gonna. For me personally, I still think crypto is overpriced
okay,
because it has up to now it has no real world functionality. So it's still gonna it's living off a lot of Donald Trump hype. So it's gonna still go down.
but
I
I
think it has to get
honestly, okay. So I'll tell you my little perspective on crypto in
okay.
terms of what you just said. So we have gold, right?
Yeah,
So when you look at the gold bar,
yeah,
right? When
yeah,
you buy what's that one again? That one gram of gold,
yeah,
basically how much you pay for it? You pay like 100 and something bucks.
yeah,
When you buy the 1 ounce of gold, basically you pay 3,000 for it. And when
yeah,
you buy the 1 kg of gold,
yeah.
you pay 100K. So in that little way of thinking about it, the lowest value of crypto should be 100K. Like if it's
Oh, yeah,
considered to be gold, it should be at least 100K. Why? Because it can move fast as lightning. You can get it from A to B, even though if it doesn't do anything else, just holding that 100K, it's possible for it to hold that 100K value, especially
yeah,
over time, going to that, what, next 10 years or whatever. 100K is nothing. So I wouldn't
yeah,
say it's overpriced. I would think it's kind of like for today's date, the price increased way too fast.
yeah.
But in the long run, it should be at least 100K. That is just how I feel about it.
Yeah, it was from 2013 upwards up to Trump's first election. It was always pegged against the gold. They started
Mhm.
coming up with their own coin because don't buy gold, buy this gold instead. So they've been playing off gold for a very long time until the price shoot off past gold, and all of a sudden they don't want to be associated with gold. But unlike Bitcoin, gold still have its value in electronics and everything, right? So I think it's gonna come down once the hype dies down a little bit, and
Mm.
it has to come down.
Well, its last
It
year's
has to.
low, its last year's low was
Yeah,
49, right?
yeah.
And if we go back to
A year before that,
2020,
it was 19.
and if we go back to 2020, it was like 8,000 in 2020.
Yeah,
So for me, like between 2020 to right now, the jumps was hyped. It was hyped. So
yeah,
like for today's price, it's kind of overvalued, but you know how markets are. As long as the market is happy about it, it ain't
yeah. That's
coming
true.
down. It ain't coming
Yeah,
back
that's true.
down. So
Yeah,
when
that's
this
true.
whole shit was going on with the
Until
tariffs, I was smiling, bro, because I could finally buy this shit at a
yeah,
reasonable price. But now Trump is basically putting his mouth back.
yeah,
Like when he say he hit the pause, everything start changing, and I wanted it to go back to like some 2023 or 2020 prices. At least that would be
yeah.
okay.
It's eventually gonna go down there because let's look at it this way. Let's say the price hovers around 90,000
Hmm.
and it stays at 90,000, and we have the holders and you're still holding on to Bitcoin. And like, it's been a year now and
Hmm.
it's only 90.1 or 90.2. people at that point, people get tired. It's like there's better investment with better returns. The price can go to 100,000. I'm not doubting that, right? But if it
Mm-hmm.
stays or hovers around that price range for a very long time, and people are not able to make money of it or lose money of it, and it's just stagnant, people are going to be like, man, I'd rather trade in the stock exchange. At least the liquidity function of it is probably going to go down tomorrow. I buy in the deep, or you're going to go down
Mm-hmm.
up, I buy up high. So if it stays there for,
Well,
people are just going to start selling off.
well, it's been like around 80 something and 90 something for a while, and it crashed 100 and it dropped down back to 80 something. So right now, people made some money. Like those who had their short calls when it was
Yeah,
100 and it dropped down, they made some decent money. And
yeah,
now it's at 80 something. Even just the other day with the shit that went on, it went low as 74 and now going up
hmm,
to 80. People made some money because crypto to me is very volatile,
very,
and
very,
people
very,
are
very
peop
emotional.
so like for like I started thinking about this thing recently. I feel like crypto, the best way to play crypto is to trade this motherfucker.
Yeah, yeah, bro. Like for real,
You-
because a lot
I
of,
think you could get rich on just trading this shit, like because in a week the price can move like from 0 to 10K in either direction.
yeah, but it this is what I'm afraid for Bitcoin. This just my personal fear. Um,
Mm.
at one point in time, before the market became very matured, people were not able to sell off their Bitcoin.
Hmm.
Even though the people had Bitcoin, they were not able to sell it off because the platforms that were dealing those trades were like, I don't think we are selling now. So if you want to sell, you have to make, imagine I don't know whether they still do that. Imagine your bank telling you if you want to withdraw 100,000, you have to give us 24-hour notice. It used to be
That I
like
don't
that.
know.
Yeah,
That
it's
I don't
banks
know.
still do that right now. So, oh, we have to tell us before you withdraw. Bitcoin used to be like that until platform was like, if we want to give people the confidence in the coin, we have to stop doing that. So the platform, I think they put their heads together. It's like we have to stop doing that. And now it's like, okay, if you want to sell today, you can easily sell. But I think it comes to a point where you want to sell and nobody's willing to buy.
Well,
That's what I'm afraid of.
it's possible, but if
Yeah,
Trump take his word and make it part of the Federal Reserve, you should be able to sell at any time. Or worst case scenario, the best right now, the best thing that happens to Bitcoin is that you can always convert it to USDT, which
yeah,
is backed by US dollar. And once you have that shit, you're good to go.
yeah,
So you sell, it's like you convert, because each platform these days allow you to convert your Bitcoin to any stable coin. Once you have the stable coin, you have legal access to get out. So you don't even need to
yeah,
sell it on the open market. You convert it at market value. No,
yeah,
for now, you're out.
yeah. Because now it's much more profitable. So hopefully, I think it's going. Yeah, but yeah, I think it has to calm down.
But then there's always guys like the Michael Saylor.
Yeah,
He's
he's been.
he's deep into Bitcoin. So for me, as long as a guy like that exists, I can always sell my Bitcoin, bro.
Yeah. The reason why he's so much into it because he how would I put it? He put a lot of investors' money into one basket. So when Bitcoin was at 15,000, he bought Bitcoin at 30,000 and it went down to 15,000. So now a lot of the people that put the money like, because he's taking investors' money,
Hmm.
and they were like, He and Cathy Woods, they were like, you have to sell off now. But he was so afraid of his own, I'll say, destiny and how he's going to be perceived in the marketplace because he's known as the Bitcoin guy. The
He
only reason
doubled
he's
down.
known, yeah. So because when he went down, he's like, if I sell now, I'm still going to lose money to for my investors, and I'm probably going to go to jail. So he stood
Mm.
10 toes deep and said, I'm not selling. I'll find
Diving
a way to
deeper.
pay your money somehow. And he stick with it because there was no other way for him than to stick with it.
Hmm.
And he became the savior of it all because not that he became the savior, but there was no actual way for him to go. You know, there
Now
was
he's
no way.
10 toes. Now he's 10 toes deep with a
Yeah,
big
now,
margin of safety.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I saw the videos of people laughing at him, you know,
Mm.
and
Now he's like, who's laughing now?
yeah, who is laughing now?
Who's
You know,
laughing now, man? He pay
yeah,
off. He probably pay off all his investors with change. Like,
yeah. And Cathy Wood is also smiling right now, so um which is really good, so
so what I see is going for Bitcoin right now. As long as the government don't ban it, I feel this thing is gonna be okay.
yeah,
And you think about it like this, the US debt still exists, and they designed this thing to kind of go in the opposite direction of the US dollar deflated. So it makes me start thinking, imagine what currency would have been like one US dollar, what it would have been like if it was meant to stay the way that it was actually meant to be. It probably could have been
yeah,
what 100K. $1 could have probably been what 100K, but
yeah,
the
but
logic.
they don't have the gold because up until 1967 or 1965 you could actually send your $1 back to the Federal Reserve and say, okay, I want my gold because it was backed by gold. And they realized there's no all the goals that have been dug from earth will not fill one football stadium. So the central government realized, man, if you want to go by the gold standard, I don't think we can actually build anything. So we're like, okay,
Mhm.
we're gonna take the dollar of the gold standard, and they made more money that way. You
Yeah,
know,
they made more money, but people lose more money. And to
yeah,
me,
back,
that's the
yeah,
whole idea of Bitcoin is like you keep your money, and as a year goes by, your money multiply the way it's supposed to multiply. It's just a matter of when we're ready to sell it.
will somebody be willing to buy it?
There's always going to be people willing to buy it as long as the concept stays the same. You keep your value. Is the thing is for me the
Yeah,
biggest issue with Bitcoin is the government. As long as the governments won't block it, someone would always buy it because it's everyone already recognize it as this is actually real cash. But what we buying from the bank is fake cash.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. And a smart person will be like, until all the PCs stop working.
Yeah, if one day some virus come and shut down all the PCs, oh, we do. Or like
Yeah, so
the quad computing come and it could decipher the
yeah,
hash. Oh, we doomed too because
yeah,
hackers gonna go on 24/7 robbery.
yeah.
But
So because no
to
system is
me,
no system is that no system is that safe. It's only until the compute power grows and they realize until China start telling the US, oh, oh, you were thinking we hacked you. No, we actually hacked you. I'm like, oh, golly. The US was just thinking you hacked us. Now you just confirmed, no, we actually hacked you. And the US were thinking, oh, our energy system were that secured. Damn.
Well, to me, what I'm seeing now, the digital space is the Pandora box that they open, and it's never
Yeah.
gonna close because why? It made everything much more efficient and
Yeah.
more effective. It's just that they will keep coming up with ways to, finesse it. Like, for
Yeah.
example, currency was never a thing. They
Yeah.
created it. So they just printed paper and they tell you, hey, this paper have value and people believe it
Yeah.
has value. So we work our asses off to get it. Now, okay,
Yeah.
we create this Bitcoin. The Bitcoin run on electricity. The electricity, you work your ass off to get it, to say it. Okay, so now we're selling that as value and we're saying it has value. So as long as everyone believe it has value, it ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
But to
Yeah.
me,
As
it's
long as
better to hold the Bitcoin than to hold the shit that the government giving you because at least there's only 21 million of it. So they give it the value like diamond. There's only 21 million diamonds in the world. You gotta find them, bro. You
yeah, you
find
have to.
them, you rich. You don't find
Yeah.
them, you broke. So
Yeah.
yeah, man. Let me hold a piece of that diamond right now.
Yeah, you have to. It's really important that whatever comes across your table, you have to hold a piece, you know.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I
like my
was,
my goal is like, okay, I want to get at least one Bitcoin.
yeah.
I don't care what happened, bro. At
Yeah,
least
just
I
go
have
on.
one or two Bitcoin in my pocket.
Yeah.
No matter how the world turn, I'll be is like, okay, that security deposit is there.
Yeah.
And then outside of that, get a couple gold bars. Okay, that deposit is there. So it's like what I realizing in life as an adult, anything that is considered an asset, you gotta have one or
Yeah.
two of it,
You
bro.
gotta
No
have
matter
one.
what
It's really
happened.
important.
And it
Somebody
could
will
be
always be
like,
willing to buy from you.
yeah, it's just like something you probably keep in your family as family heirlooms that you transfer from one generation to the next. The only time the generation spends it is if like
You have a drunkard.
something happened. Something happened that's serious in the family, but it should be like a family um mission to for everyone to accumulate one of
Yeah,
each asset. That is just like
that's true.
your task as a human being. The task of a human being is to make a kid in all black culture. No, 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 no. We need to take it the white people style. You see, the white people,
Got to.
every time they marry, they have something that they pass from this generation to the next generation, whether it's a
Yeah,
watch, whether it's something. And then you
yeah,
probably realize that when it goes to certain person, oh, that person is rich.
yeah, yeah. I still
Why
have my
black?
dad's. I still have my dad's watch he gave me at 18.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wanted to sell that motherfucker, but I was like, fuck this shit. So
Yeah, so I
because
feel like,
the guy was looking at that motherfucker too. But yeah, yeah,
yeah, I
yeah,
feel
yeah.
like in people like for black culture, we need to start developing some new trends.
We have
So
to.
like
It's really
one
important.
new trend we can do, Bitcoin is something that is kind of popping or whatever. You don't need to buy too much, but
No,
try to at least get like I was watching some one YouTuber was like, man, just imagine this. Bitcoin multiplied by 200% in like 10 years. If
yeah,
you were to
I
have
saw
zero
something.
point 0.1 Bitcoin, you know how much money you fucking have?
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Which other asset do you have that multiplies like that? So just with that concept,
Yeah,
okay,
just get
I
it.
I would just I just want to get some and put it there because if you think about it, in the beginning when Bitcoin was just a couple $100, that's just like sneaker money. Imagine if you
Yeah,
just put in that sneaker money there, oh, you'd have been
yeah,
rich by now. Or like now it's kind of hard to do. So if you want to get like now you could basically just buy 0.01 for sneaker
yeah.
money. If you buy that and then it do two times of 200%,
That's still a good
that's still a just by
overall.
buying 0.01 at today's value,
Yeah,
you still make a lot of money, which is like putting like $1,000 in.
Yeah.
Normally we spend that on going on freaking dates and buying
Yeah.
sneakers and all this kind of bullshit just to make yourself feel good for a few seconds.
A few seconds. That's true.
But
That's true.
what you would get maybe after 10 years is generational wealth just by spending it in a different area. And
Hmm.
that's the kind of perspective I'm thinking about these things are in right now. So I have a target I want to get because I started late. When I
Yeah.
get there, I'm gonna
Somebody
stop with
just
this
started
shit.
today.
Yeah, I'm
Somebody
just the only
started
thing
to.
I'm worried about with this thing is just like, because it's digital, it's a fucking risky thing.
It
Like
is a risky
your
thing
crypt with your
because
keys and all this different shit. But
yeah,
to
because
me,
unlike the having a bank account and your money in your bank where it's insured by the central government, that when somebody hack into the bank and steal all money, the government has to pay you back.
but
Well,
for that part of it, I don't care that much because when banks go bankrupt, you don't see your money either way. Because I
yeah.
remember back home when I had a bank card
So,
with this bank that just came out and it was popping and it was nice and everything. And
yeah.
it was just in a normal savings account, but the bank went bankrupt. I didn't see a dime from that account after that. And
Yeah, now like there's a law that insured up to 250,000. So
yeah,
if you have
that's what they say.
yeah,
That's what they say when the people tell you, "Oh, I really don't have the money," or the guy kill himself. When the guy kill
yeah,
himself, like in Japan, when
yeah,
you messed up so bad, you just commit
yeah,
suicide because you don't want to pass it
yeah.
on to your family.
Nah,
You can't ask a dead man to pay you.
yeah,
So the so-called security or the illusion of security that these people provide to you, say, okay, you have insurance. You don't really have insurance. The best insurance you have is yourself, man. That's how I
yeah,
see it. And even with Bitcoin these days, they're selling stuff like insurance too. There's companies who want to sell you insurance on these things too.
yeah. If it's not from the
But
if it's not from the government, hell no.
so
Yeah, it's tricky out there, man. Especially everybody trying to make a buck. It's tricky world out there, bro. It's a whole new world.
yeah, the
It's
easiest
a
way to
whole new world.
make a buck is the best way to make a buck. But then after you make that buck, if you want to get out of the rat race, everything becomes tricky.
Yeah,
Everything becomes tricky, man.
it is, man. It's just. By the way, I have one last video I want to play on Trump issue. Let's do it.
This is Charles Schwab. It's not just a company, it's actually an individual. And he made 2.5 billion today, and he made 900 million. That's not bad, because he's in financials. I've always been.
Is it?
2.5 million in a day, and he made 19 million in a day. People balling, bro.
Yeah, that was when he told these cocksuckers to buy the dip. And then he's gloating about it. Like,
Well,
this-
come on, man. He's like, if I had
and
money laying around, I would have did it too.
guess what? Obama is somewhere lying, crying, said, imagine, I was listening to his interview. Imagine if I had done this when I was president. Motherfucker, you should have done that when you were president. You were so
But
much of a coward
what's
not
the
to do
craziest
anything.
thing about Trump? Probably told everybody after his kids made
Yeah,
millions
bro,
because
you have to.
they will get the first hand information. He'd be like, "Hey, son, yeah, we dropping these tariffs now," and they
Yeah,
would just hit sell.
yeah,
And then, okay, 24 hours, we're gonna put pause on it. So you know what to do? You
yeah.
hit and buy. Vroom. You
Even
sell, you made some
though,
profit, and then you buy, you make more profit. Imagine how much
even though
they
it's
made.
unethical, who cares about ethics when your family is hungry, right?
But shit. But the best part about it, even if he did the unethical part, He made it a public announcement, so everybody had a chance to participate in the unethical.
Yeah, by
So
the
it
time
becomes ethical.
yeah, by the time you hear about it, they said when you first heard about it, you are probably too late.
Yeah, that's the whole point. But he did it in a nice way, unless doing it like Nancy Pelosi. They're doing it in the dark of the night.
Yeah,
Nobody knows. No one shares with
yeah.
the info on
That
unless you're in
that,
the inner
that,
circle.
that lady is
But
almost a billionaire.
so the whole thing, what I like about Trump is that he announced it so that at least everybody had an opportunity to,
Yeah,
even if to make $100, you probably made $100.
yeah, true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just by reading his post, it's a great time to buy.
yeah, it's a
Because when
great
I
time
saw
to
that,
buy.
I think Bitcoin was around like 76 or something like that.
Oh, so the price
And
jump
then
off that.
what?
Yeah,
He was saying, okay, buy the stock market. I watched the crypto market, bro.
crazy. That's crazy. That is crazy.
Because the
That
moment
is
that
crazy.
everything, bro, so it's like whatever asset you had a chance to make a few bucks, man.
Yeah, that is crazy. Yo, you have friends like that, man. Who need that, right?
Hmm.
It is crazy though. It is crazy.
But it's
But
good to have
hopefully they
things
figure.
like that in your corner.
Yeah, hopefully they figure this shit out because um Trump is Trump is saying American cars can sell. Japan is not buying American cars. Yo, you have to see the road first. Yeah, you have to see the road first to be able to determine whether the cars can actually fit on Japanese roads.
Because
These
it's all the
cars won't
big
fit.
Ford cars. It's too large, right?
And these roads are small. Like a road passed through my yo, you have to see the cars. They've made these cars so small that the cars drive through like buildings almost, you know? It's like they have roads everywhere through buildings. I'm like, yo, what the hell is going on? Yeah. Yo, this is crazy. You know, so American cars won't work here. You know, yo, these cars are really tiny, bro. Everybody's driving this very small car. I'm like, what's going on?
I think that's a Chinese culture. It's like if you realize Asia is all
Yeah,
about the tiny.
yeah,
India, they do the same thing. South Korea, they do a lot of the same thing. China, they do a lot of the same
yeah,
thing. So it's like to me,
yeah,
that's an Asian culture thing. Look at how they
yeah,
prepare their meat. They like doing the tiny meat, but look at the Western culture. They like doing the
yeah,
big
yeah,
chunks
like
of meat.
yeah, yeah,
So it's like a difference in the cultures. Like Asians are used to making stuff small and making and doing stuff tiny. I think it's also
yeah,
to do with the general population height. Um, that's part of their custom. Like even you watch your room, one part is because the price of houses is high, but
yeah, like
the other
MF.
part is that the demand for large houses is not there that much.
Nah, they don't have like demand for large houses here. No, not
People
at
don't
all.
really care about having a large house. People
They
are like
don't.
they
They are
conceal.
modest living.
Yeah,
Yeah, modest living, like very modest living. They just want their garden. Once they have their garden, they don't care. You
because you
know.
can grow their own crops.
Yeah,
Buying fruits is
yeah.
expensive.
Oh, yo, CJ, fruit is a luxury in Japan. Fruit is a luxury. Fruit is a luxury. Like these people, they don't have like morning veggie market. They don't have like farmers market. Like it's like they don't have all that, bro. Like it's crazy. You know, it is really crazy because they don't allow other countries to, um, ship those stuffs here. So I can understand that. Anyway,
Hmm.
let's tackle the last issue, man. I know Una is waiting on you. Um,
Yeah.
Didi has. gotten some of his cases rejected by the court because, oh, you have a call?
No, no, no. It's okay.
Yeah, he has some of his cases rejected by the court because their accuser refused to um be a Jane Doe. With Jane Doe, you can hide in the dark and say, "Oh, Diddy did this to me," or "Diddy did that to me." So that,
Mm-hmm.
like some courts in the New York State was like, "Okay, the only way we can proceed with this is for you to come out of the dark." And some people, about four people, refused to come out of the dark. They were like, "Hell no, we are afraid of our lives
Oh,
because if Diddy knows us, we don't know what he's capable of." And the judge is like, "Shit, I'm not having this discussion with you. You either come out or I'm throwing out the case." And the people was like, "Okay, then throw out the case then."
so
You
you
know,
tried. They tried a lot.
and yeah, so they throw out the case. So about four other cases have been
That
thrown
means
out.
Didi got a good judge, man. Good for
Yeah,
him. Congrats.
yeah,
Because to me,
and
like, once it comes to a civil case, once you're shaking me down for money, you're supposed to show your face.
yeah,
If it
yeah,
was to say like it's not a civil case, it was a criminal case, I could understand with you not showing your face because that's because you're not going after money, you're just, you know, going after justice. In
true.
that sense, I could understand them concealing the identity, but they have it backwards.
Yeah, but the problem I'm having with this um case is after four got rejected or dropped by the court, guess what?
Hmm.
The same lawyer found two extra people that have different sort of case against Diddy. So it's just like they drop two more pop up because it doesn't
Oh,
cost you to file a lawsuit against somebody, you know.
like case replacement.
Yeah, yeah, that's a problem right now. That's a
Damn. They plan to make him spend 10 to 20 years in jail just appealing cases.
yeah, just
Imagine that.
appealing.
You ain't even started some a jail sentence time yet. But you're
Nah,
just locked up in a prison and every day you're going
waiting
to
for
the
his
court.
court date.
Hmm.
Waiting
As
for
fast
his
as you
court
wait,
date.
another person pop up. That would be crazy, bro.
Yeah, and and uh, what about this guy, the actor? What's his name? He went on PBD podcast and said
Hmm.
Diddy tried to take his manhood, and the lawyer contacted him and asked him, "Hey, do you want to file a lawsuit?" I'm like, "Yo, come on, bro.
Mm.
This is crazy. Do you want
Oh,
to file a?"
Terrence Howard, right?
Yeah, Terrence
Yeah,
Howard.
I
And
saw
the
that
law
one. I saw that one.
and the lawyer is now contacting him and asking whether he wants to file a lawsuit. I'm like, yo, these lawyers are out of control, CJ.
Yeah, well, lawyers want to make money
Yeah,
because
this
if once it's a civil case and he win, because he already doing a ton of DD cases,
yeah,
right? So if he win one, basically he will win all because the same lawyer going to use the same set of evidence. So the one work for all your clients.
yeah. And this lawyer is just doing this case pro bono because he
Oh,
knows
pro bono
once,
too.
yeah, he's doing this, he's not getting paid yet. He's pro bono all the way through. That's why he's just filing everything. He just want to stick. Once one stick and he gets paid maybe 30 million, he takes care of everything.
Okay. So
That's the
he's doing
problem now.
probability.
Yeah, so he's just playing a
The
lottery with somebody's life right now. You know, so
probability of winning one sort of a
just
hundred is
one.
high.
Yeah, so that's the problem I have with these issues right now. So hopefully, but I think Didi is gonna beat all of them, man. I think Didi is gonna come home with his with everybody kissing his ass backwards, because even the indictment from the federal government is flimsy at best. You
Mhm.
know, they really don't have like concrete evidence. You know, because RICO is racketeering, whatever. Like you need multiple people to be involved in RICO. One
Mhm.
person cannot be a RICO. Like, come on now. Can one person form a gang? No, one person cannot form a gang. Like,
Mhm.
it's
But
just
also, I think
crazy.
the judges are tired too, because if you're a
Yeah,
judge, every day DD this, DD that, DD this, DD that, and then a lot of them not even giving substantial evidence, then
yeah,
you get tired of this. You don't want to hear
yeah,
this every day.
yeah.
It's
That's
like this a kid coming up and singing the same lullaby every time. As an
yeah.
adult, when you
Like,
hear it over
go back to
time,
sleep.
bro, it
Just go to sleep already.
irritates you more than anything else.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So we'll see
Yeah,
what they do.
so hopefully, I think it's gonna be this case, because
Hmm.
the way things are going, I'm not sure. It's like the only thing they have against him is Cassie, the beating video, and one person accusing him of
But
sexual
she got
abuse.
paid
And
already, though.
yeah, because yeah, so but they're still holding that um they're still holding that video over him, right? Because now
Hmm.
they try to um paint a narrative so that um the jury will look at that. So once the jury sees Diddy beating on a lady, and guess what the accuser is going for? Guess what the DA is going for? The DA is going
Mm.
for all female jury. So once
Oh,
you go for, yeah, yeah, go for all female jury, and then some
women will
people will,
have sympathy on women,
yeah,
like saying,
maybe
"Oh,
somebody has
you can't
abused her
beat on a
before.
woman like that,
Yeah, you see. So regardless of whether the beating is
valid or
probable,
not."
yeah, yeah, they're gonna hold that against him.
Oh
So that's a
damn.
problem. Yeah, that's a problem right now. So it's wild world out there, bro. It's
Oh
wild out
damn.
there. Anyway, man, I think we've gone long enough, and
Okay.
hopefully this thing is playing. In hold on, let me check. Okay, yeah, it's playing. Cause normally, uh, I get a time. Okay, oh, I
Oh.
get it now. Oh, 157. We've been recording for almost 1 hour. Yeah, 1 hour 17 minutes.
Well, on the live from what we have here, it's 1 hour and 20 minutes basically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All
So
right, man. You want to give some closing remarks?
I'm often not to
Oh,
say.
oh, is my video breaking at your end too?
Yeah, I think it's your side. I'm not too sure.
Oh, okay.
I know this is it. Anyway, guys, thanks for listening. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Like you guys been here, and really appreciate everything you guys have been doing for us. Like, so 160 subscribers. Hopefully, we can get at least 1,000, 4,000. But
Yeah,
peace and love, and see you guys in the next one. Bless.
yeah. Road 2000, man. Starting this week, man. We back full fling, man. Saturday we have boxing on. Oh, is it Saturday? Yeah, Saturday we have boxing live on Bamboo Street, man. Don't forget to join us for that boxing match, man. Jerome Boots Ennis versus Tanionis. It's gonna be a great fight. So, guys, don't forget to join us on that live. All right, man.
All right, guy. Bless. See
Peace.
ya.
Yeah.